Right, welcome. Gina Carano, Disney, the lawsuit, it's going ahead. Or at least looking like potentially it will, because the motion to dismiss has been denied, which generally speaking then means it will start to go ahead and go to trial. Unless, of course, Disney pulls out their checkbook and Gina Carano accepts. Which could still happen. I did a video yesterday discussing whether she would accept it or not. You know, a monetary deal. We don't know. She wasn't exactly 100% clear cut on her decision there. So this looks genuinely like, hopefully, the Disney Gina Carano lawsuit will go ahead. It will go to trial, which means discovery. That's the real clincher. That's where the dirty secrets get revealed. That's where the communications come to light. That's where everything that Disney does not want in the public domain gets put in the public domain. That's the real win. That is the thing which teaches Disney the lesson here. Not the actual trial. They don't care. They can lose money on that. Not even settling money. Not even giving money out. None of this. None of that. It's the discovery part which will teach Disney a lesson. So let's take a look. This happened early hours for me anyway. So let's take a look. Dive right into this with me today. This is over on That Park Place. I'll leave a link down below, but let's take a look, shall we? So, in court, documents obtained by That Park Place, US District Judge Sherilyn Peace Garnett has denied the request by the Walt Disney Company to dismiss Gina Carano's lawsuit, with Gina Carano and her lawyers against the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm's attempt to dismiss her case. Oh yes. Kathleen Kennedy. Your dirty secrets might come out. Oh ho ho ho. So according to Judge Garnett, Disney, Lucasfilm and Huckleberry have failed to set forth an impenetrable defense under the First Amendment. The court denies defendant's motion. Good times. Carano filed her lawsuit against the Walt Disney Company back in February, with suit detailing it is, quote, a civil action arising from defendant's wrongful termination of Carano's employment in retaliation for Carano's lawful exercise of her right to speak and express her views. Specifically, defendants under the regime of former Disney CEO Bob Chapek fired Carano because of her posts. The posts on various social media platforms, including X, formerly known as Twitter. Carano composed and published the post while she was off duty and away from the workplace. The suit also alleges, quote, defendants terminated Carano's employment and took other retaliatory actions to limit and deny her future employment opportunities, including but not limited to making maliciously false statements about Carano with the intention of damaging her reputation and thus her ability to find and retain work. Quote, defendants treated Carano differently than her similarly situated male co-workers, who likewise expressed their personal political views on social media, but upon information and belief were not counselled or disciplined, let alone terminated. All of that is demonstrably true. From what we know, I mean, the final part of this is demonstrably true. They did not penalise the male co-workers. We don't know, although I would say it's probably, completely accurate, but we don't know whether Disney tried to limit her future employment opportunities, although maybe that will be discovered in discovery. So the lawsuit specifically accused the Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm of wrongful discharge, and refusal to hire and sex discrimination. So Carano is asking for, quote, preliminary and permanent injunctive relief, requiring defendants to reinstate Carano to her prior position with no loss of pay or benefits, a judge declaring that defendants' termination of Carano's employment was unlawful and in violation of California law, compensatory damages, including but not limited to loss of pay from the date of termination to the date of reinstatement, in an amount to be determined at trial but exceeding $75,000, compensatory damages for loss of future employment, including but not limited to the promised role in Rangers of the New Republic, in an amount to be determined at trial, emotional distress damages in an amount to be determined at trial, punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial, reasonable attorney's fees and costs, and such other and further relief as the court may deem just and proper. It's quite difficult to say that none of this is fair. But anyway, so the Walt Disney Company filed a motion to dismiss in April, arguing, quote, Disney makes this motion on the grounds that Disney has a constitutional right not to associate its artistic expression with Carano's speech, such that the First Amendment provides a complete defence to Carano's claims. Later in their motion, they said Carano's claims are all barred by the First Amendment, as the Supreme Court held in Hurley versus Irish American Gay Lesbian Bisexual Group of Boston. The First Amendment embodies a core principle of speakers' autonomy that bars the state from dictating to expressive enterprises what to say, how to say it, and whom to say it through. And Disney would also say further, as the court further held in Boy Scouts of America versus Dale, that principle means that a state cannot force an employer engaged in speech to speak through an employee whose own views or public profile could compromise the employer's own message, even if the employee does not express her views on the job. So Disney's motion says the coup de grace came in February when Carano admittedly reposted an Instagram post comparing criticism of political conservative viewpoints to the Holocaust in Nazi Germany. Carano's decision to publicly trivialise the Holocaust, that's up for debate, whether it's trivialising or not, it's up for debate. The Holocaust, by comparing criticism of political conservatives to the annihilation of millions of Jewish people, notably not thousands, was the final straw for Disney, as Carano alleges Lucasfilm that same day denounced the statements and observed that it had no plans to employ her in future. So the motion then says Disney had enough. Same day Carano grotesquely trivialised, blah blah blah. Lucasfilm announced that Gina Carano is not currently employed at Lucasfilm. And yeah, would not. It was all unacceptable, blah blah blah. So from here, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Judge Garnett reacted to this argument stating, I don't necessarily disagree with you. And the Hollywood Reporter's Winston Cho even noted a federal judge has signalled that Gina Carano's lawsuit against Disney and Lucasfilm over her termination from The Mandalorian will be allowed to proceed, as the court considers whether the First Amendment allows private companies to sever ties with employees who publicly clash with their values, and that's what they were deliberating. But now it's happened. Now it has actually happened. So we'll sort of scroll down a little bit further than this. I guess it's quite interesting, to be honest. I mean, the fact that they've just gone, yeah, you know what, actually, yeah, it's going to go ahead. I mean, look, again, the win here is discovery. Nothing else, really. Because the win, on the grander scheme of things, it's the public embarrassment for Disney. It's the loss of stock value. That's what matters. It's all of those things. That's where the lesson will be taught. Good for Gina Carano, but please God, don't accept a payout. Because if you accept a payout, it's all for nothing. It's all for naught. So let me know what you think down below. Let me know what you think down below. Genuinely curious to hear. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Turn the bell notifications on. Support me further via Patreon. That's linked down below. Take care. Bye-bye now.